Okay, in the prior video to this one, I showed you this awesome creation of mine, which is just epic tits. And Pulsey Buff, you need to be watching this. I showed you how to very, very cheaply modify 8.5-inch reflector and drop a honeycomb grid in it. Either a 15 or 30, whatever you got. This one's a 15 from Pulsey Buff. This is a reflector from Pulsey Buff. All I did was snap a 12-gauge wire around it, and I created this awesome beauty. Right now I'm going to drop a honeycomb in it, but I showed you that in the prior video, dropping a honeycomb in there. But I want to show you something neat. Folks at Pulsey Buff, pay attention. I call this the honeycomb ring, and the light from it is exactly as exquisite as I knew it would be when I thought up the creation and my own little idea. And by the way, I got your AB or 800 ring lights right over here. I got a pair of them. Okay, so I know about incredible ring light with a pair of half moon xenon strobes. Love you, Pulsey Buff. Got 4 Einsteins. Got an Einstein there behind me. Sometimes speed light's enough. Right now I've got this mounted on a tiny light stand instead of a large one. Doesn't make any difference, just for demonstration purposes. So what am I going to do? Unlike the prior video where I dropped in the 30-degree honeycomb in there, because it's not about just blasting stuff with light, it's about having control over your lighting, okay? Control. Control of the light. Anybody can blast something with light. Okay? You can properly expose it, and you can properly illuminate it. Proper illumination is a BS term in photography. Proper illumination doesn't mean jack crap. What does that mean? Sure, it means everything. Proper illumination, are you talking about blasting everything with light? Saturating everything, be perfectly exposed, perfectly illuminated, but you've destroyed your values for the effect of the lighting. Everything is about lighting, not just properly exposing it and blasting something with light. Boom! Any professional photographer will tell you is that photography is learning how to control your camera, step number 1. Step number 2, learning how to add light. And step number 3, controlling that light. Step number 4 is really learning the expertise and artistic value of compositional, picture taking, not taking, but creating. But we're going to do something very fascinating here, and this is my own little invention. I've taken a piece of plastic. You could use paper, not paper, but cardboard, something thicker. I made a circle out of it. I cut in a slit to the center. I pulled it together to make a cone out of it. Then I stuck in this umbrella-shaped wire. You see it's kind of got a little hook right there so it stays in place. Okay? It's about 2 inches long. And I have here a regular folder paper clip. You could use anything. You could use a hollowed out cork. And then what I'm going to do, make sure I've got the inside here, is I'm going to properly center this. And it's going to fit in one of the holes of this honeycomb grid. Make sure I've got the proper centered hole there. And then I'm going to stick that clip on there. It doesn't take much pressure just to hold that in. You see what I have here? What do you think I'm about to do? Actually, I didn't perfectly center this, but you get the point, right? I should have dropped it in a hole a little bit higher right here. Look what I got here. I got a parabolic reflector. I have now created, and this costs nothing. You can use aluminum foil. I used silver aluminum sticky ducting tape to cover my piece of thin plastic. It's about the thickness of cardboard. You can cut it with scissors. You can make one in 5 minutes. You can secure it on the outside however you want. The center here, obviously, there's no light escaping, so it doesn't matter what you use to secure it. Now I'm going to pop it in, and I have now, in my light mod, something that's wonderful. Let me actually pop it over here so you can take a peek-see at it. I'm going to do it directly into the camera. Let me drop it down even further. Yeah, 1/64th power. See if you can see that. The lighting is beautiful. Not only, and this, by the way, you can drop a grid on the ABR 800 ring light, which I've got 2 of those things, and they're awesome. Pulsey Buff, I hope you're watching. I already showed Pulsey Buff how to make this basic invention off of their own stuff using only an umbrella rod and a band on one of the reflectors. It's perfectly stable. Any speed light will fit into this. Using one of Pulsey Buff's 30-degree grids, this is a 15. Right now I've got the 30 dropped in there. The holes on the 15 are a little too small for regular wire. I could use a 20. I just have to use a smaller wire, a thinner wire. But right now, I have perfect lighting control where I have 30-degree control of the lighting, step number 1. Step number 2, I've got beautiful ring lighting. So not only do I have beautiful ring light, which envelops like a torus, a donut. Anybody knows what the hell a ring light does? A true ring light. Not the LED crap you get at Walmart or something like that. A true stroboscopic ring light. 30-degree control and enveloping toroidal ring light. When you have that kind of control and it's a beautiful sort of light, then this is epic tits. This is my own little creation. It will cost you $0. Zero. I only made it out of a piece of aluminum coated. Let me pop it out here. Look. Aluminum coated the piece of plastic. You could use construction paper, whatever. Look how quickly it attaches and detaches. Look. Look. Simplicity is divinity. The lighting from a grid is incredible for lighting control. But when I do something that is just epic awesome, like my own little light mod here, and drop in a reflective cone, then what happens is the speed light hits this, and it gets pushed around to the back of the reflector and then envelops out around. So now I have controlled ring light through a honeycomb grid. I call it the honeycomb ring. And if you don't think this is awesome, then you're an idiot. I'm not talking to Paul C. Buff, I'm talking to other people. Paul C. Buff knows that this is awesome. Because Paul C. Buff makes honeycomb grids for their ABR 800. And they know why they create it, because it is awesome. But they could also be making this. And it would cost Paul C. Buff like nothing to make this. And I think that if they made this, people would go, damn, you're right, that is, damn. Make one of these, Paul C. Buff, just for a test. And don't tell me, because you can't, that the lighting from this little invention isn't epic. Love you, Paul C. Buff, and everybody else out there, you can make one of these yourself. But I think if Paul C. Buff made a slightly more professional version of what I made, mine's not bad. It's plastic, it'll last forever. You don't sit on it or something. Paul C. Buff would sell the hell out of it. Yeah, it would. It's a really good idea. If you don't recognize it, I know for a fact that the folks at Paul C. Buff do, because once you create one of these and see the lighting that comes out of it, then a bunch of testing, it's awesome. If you like this video, you can drop me $1 or $2, tell me to jump off a cliff, but you can't deny that the lighting from this creation, this invention of mine, isn't epic, because it damn well is. You can't deny it. You can't. Catch you later. Bye. Word! Awesome.